This is the newest model to share Toyota's famous Corolla name. And while it may not look like it, it's a hatchback made for having fun. You know, it wasn't too long ago that most cars weren't much fun at all. Round about the beginning of the 80s, when the country was still recovering from the gas shortage, it seemed like the only cars on the street were boring little hatchbacks. But then Volkswagen decided to soup up the engine and suspension of its little hatchback, the Rabbit. The result was the Rabbit GTI, and it was fun. So much so that the rest of the world's car makers soon followed. Now, hot hatchback fun has escalated into a full-blown war. One after another, they try to shoot their way to top gun of the class. And the newest Toyota hot hatchback carries a fitting name to join the battle. They call it the Corolla FX16. And you patriotic types should know that this little fighter is made right here in the United States. It's a product of the new United Motor Manufacturing Incorporated and their plant in Fremont, California. Where NUMMI is a joint venture between GM and Toyota, this little front driver is an all-Toyota design. From its flush headlights and sculptured air dam to its large rear hatch and spoiler. And here's what tells you for sure. The Toyota 1.6-liter twin-cam engine. It's the same 4-valve per-cylinder unit used in the MR2 and the rear-drive Corolla GTS. Standard in all FX16 models, the 16-valve makes 108 horsepower and 96 pound-feet of torque. And of course, because it's 16-valve, it'll happily rev to jet engine speeds. And the Corolla FX16 is the lightest Toyota to get the 16-valver. So it gets to the end of the carrier deck, or the quarter mile, pretty quickly. We measured 17.2 seconds at 78 miles per hour. And 0 to 60? Well, there's plenty of thrust for that, too, thanks to the afterburner effect the engine gives at high RPM. Our time, 9.8 seconds. Since a comparison is in order, those numbers are just slightly faster to both marks than in the current GTI, which doesn't offer a 16-valve engine here yet. But how about if you want to come back down from speed? Well, the FX16's four-wheel discs do it from 55 with plenty of poise and a firm, secure feel in the pedal, though not quite as short as the GTI. But a stopping average of 115 feet is excellent. The FX16 comes in two trim levels, base and GTS. GTS gives you a firmer suspension and 14-inch US-made Eagle GT tires. Either way, the suspension is fully independent, with McPherson struts both front and rear. But we found the car had more body lean than we expected, though cornering power was very good, if not up to the level of the GTI. In twisty two lanes, you notice more plow at the front, and that changes to slide from the tail when you lift off the gas. The FX16 should never scare anyone, though, since breakaway is gentle. We had a chance to drive various FX16s under a lot of different conditions, on the fast straightaways and downhill turns of the Mid-Ohio racecourse, in the tight-fisted slaloms of our home 7580 dragaway, and on the two lanes in the Shenandoah Mountains. At Mid-Ohio, the FX16 felt the most nimble. It has a tossable character that makes it feel faster than it is. And this is where we really appreciated the FX16's crisp, precise steering. On less demanding pavement, the FX16 shows other good manners. It gives you a firm but compliant ride, and none of the jolting you get with some other small car performance suspensions. We also recorded good fuel economy, 29 miles per gallon in all-around driving, and EPA ratings are 25 city and 29 highway. The FX16 is fairly quiet, too, with an interior sound level of 69 decibels at 55. And how about that interior? Well, this is a hatchback, of course, and this one gives you plenty of room and a cargo cover. The rear seat has a 50-50 split. Our only complaint is that it doesn't fold completely flat, but there is adequate leg room for rear seat passengers, plus these nifty pull handles on the seats. Up front, the cabin has an even roomier feel. But we were a little disappointed with the FX16's dash. Like many from Japan, it looks chopped up with too many elements that don't all go together well. And if this is a high-performance car, why doesn't it have an oil pressure gauge and voltmeter? As for the seats, they're cloth-covered and most supportive. Plus, the GTS driver's seat has more adjustments than most people will use. Driver controls are well thought out and easy to reach, and the shifter has the most delightful short throws. As for interior quality, the whole inside of our car was rattle-free. It seems this Toyota's American assembly is just as good as in Japan. That you really pay for the extras you order on this car. Fully optioned, this FX16 GTS would set you back $13,583, while the base car lists for a reasonable $8,178. But let's consider our list of hits. We were impressed by the smooth 16-valve engine and the acceleration it gave. We also like the car's overall nimble feel. On the practical side, there's plenty of interior room, good fuel economy, and quality workmanship. As for Mrs., we didn't much care for the confused look of the FX16's dash or its lack of instrumentation, and body roll is high as performance hatchbacks go. And then there's the matter of price. With typical options, it's also a bit high for its class. But what we have here is a little hatchback that can just about fly. Is it the best hot hatchback? Well, we're not sure. So we think it may be time to gather all the little hatchback fighters together for a road course dogfight of our own. So stay tuned.